Computer. All right. Welcome, everybody, to the much anticipated conversation about Earth globe theory. We're going to discuss today from two very different standpoints what we know, what we believe, and what we think we believe based off of a group of facts and or speculative information. And it's going to be a very open and welcoming conversation. So I welcome Jeff Phillips to our podcast, if you will. Met Jeff at Float Fest. These guys are bicyclists. They're vegans. They're active. They're part of the crypto community. They're part of the freedom community, and we have a lot of common friends. And I want to begin by asking you why you think that we haven't been to space, or is that your actual position, or do you truly believe that the Earth is flat, or that we just haven't been to the space, but it is a globe? So why don't you kind of start off by presenting your position, and then we'll continue that conversation.
I have basically a lack of a position. I don't have a position at the moment because I haven't been given hard enough evidence. I know what I was taught in elementary school and high school, and I know what I learned from like History Channel and Discovery Channel and like all the media and everything growing up. And of course, I believed everything you believed for most of my life. But I had, like you're a truther. I mean, you're like a libertarian leaning kind of anti-government guy, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
that's fair. Yeah, absolutely.
I had, like we all have an epiphany of some sort that kind of wakes us up to like what's going on in the world. And I, along with that whole learning on about government and all the awful things they've done to us and statism and all that, like all the NASA space stuff, like that was all in the same pile. And I'm just wondering, if we're so similar, how we can be on such far ends of the spectrum with what I identify as concrete evidence and what you identify as concrete evidence.
Yeah, that's totally fair. That's totally fair. And you are right. I do lean on that side, and I do question the government on basically everything that they've done. You are right.
Except
The pandemic and the state and the jab and we're on the same page with all that stuff.
Yeah.
Here's where the true disconnect comes. It's the difference between government programs and privately financed programs. I'm in the office of Megan Crawford. She's the managing partner of Space Fund. They have 19 portfolio companies that go across the entire gambit of servicing from launch to orbital transfer vehicles to space stations to gas stations. It's really impressive what these guys have been able to do. And I've seen firsthand rockets launched from NASA with satellites on them, which contain 4K streaming video, which never breaks. It's not like it went up and then just went away. So I think the real difference here is the government programs like the Apollo programs, which I'm a car guy. I can't fathom how they were able to do that math and get that to happen in the 60s and the 70s. It's just me. And I think that that's really where you're correct in this argument is if you don't believe the state and you don't believe the government, then why would you believe that they did all these other things? The difference is the access that I have to these privately funded companies like Orbit Fab, which is a gas station in space and will be multiple gas stations in space, is there. We've sent the rocket up. The launch services agreement happened. SpaceX took it on. It was part of their payload. It launched on whatever date it launched on. I've also witnessed firsthand 4 human beings being sent up to the International Space Station from Kennedy's private VIP, what do you call it, garden. And they minted a crypto in space, made an NFT, and I actually bought one. I have one of the 25 Axiom AX1 NFTs, which is cool because that actually gets you access to Axiom's second launch. And it's on OpenSea, and I think the floor on it's 30K, and I think the ceiling on it was about $1 million. And I paid $500 for this back in like January. My company, Future Stuff Incorporated, is primarily a blockchain development company. But we realized about a year and a half ago we couldn't compete with Coinbase and Kraken and on-planet transactions and exchanges. But because of Megan and her portfolio companies, we started to look at how off-planet transactions would work. So the first step is to copy the code base for Concierge, which is a private key wallet and a point of sale, and then launch those in the Nebula servers, which is the Amazon Web Services for space. We're going to use Orbit Fab as our first customer model. Because right now, if you were to refuel your satellite with Orbit Fab, you would have to send a comm down to Earth. You would have to send a wire transfer that would take about 5 days, and then you have to send a comm back up. But they use QR codes for the proximity docking of these satellites. So I can write in the smart contract to make the payment happen instantly when the fuel gets transferred.
Could I
It's not going
stop
to be
you
realized.
there?
What's that?
I don't really have like a lot of time for like a commercial for your company. I'm
This
kind of
isn't a
here to talk.
commercial for my company. This is my firsthand knowledge because that's what seems to be
Yeah,
the
this
issue
is just
here.
a bunch of word salad in the end of the day. You say you've seen rockets go to space. I don't believe that. I think you've seen rockets go into the air, and that's about it. And I don't think you have any concrete proof for anything above seeing a rocket go in the sky. Rockets, sure, they're real. Okay, like I'll admit that they're real. Like they're not all CGI. Rockets are real. It's their capabilities that they're lying to us about, and it's their capabilities beyond our line of sight. Once they're out of our sight, we don't know what's going on. And even when we're watching them, we don't necessarily know what's going on, because you can watch something and not know exactly what's going on if you're watching something from far away. But like I don't believe you have this concrete evidence that you say you have, just because you have some access to some videos, like it's like every video can be used to deceive people. A video can be completely made to look
Sure.
exactly like a current rocket launch and
But
could be
if these companies
well,
weren't actually
you can
launching
let me finish.
rockets, then the SEC would come in and shut them all down because they'd be lying to their investors and they would be stealing. If they weren't actually
This is
executing
not
space,
evidence
wasn't
that
actually doing what they're
anybody's
saying they're
been to
doing.
space. So this is what I'm here to talk about. Why, what you're, I want you to convince me, not with all this, you know, space jargon, that, convince me, someone who's on the fence, with your concrete evidence.
You use
And the
GPS.
second you say I've seen rockets go into space, that's where you lose me,
Well,
being someone on the
okay,
fence who's
let's
open
go
to
back for
hear.
a second. The rockets that launch, they have cameras on them. They have
No,
live feed of everything. That
you're,
the
you
companies that provide the
believe
cameras
have
are our
live feed.
portfolio
You believe
companies.
these things, but you don't have proof of these things. You believe, you have faith. You have faith that these things exist because you have faith. The only reason, the only word you have of anyone, you are taking the word of someone else who hasn't been to space, for your proof, and you're taking the word of people you don't know actually went into space as the truth.
So
That's why
you
I'm
don't
saying
believe
that
that
the
anybody's
crypto
ever been
in
to space.
space, there's never been a crypto in space because no one's gone to space. A bunch of people have made a bunch of videos and websites and gotten together and started companies about something, but you don't have, like, just because you saw a quote unquote satellite go into a rocket and fly up in the air, it doesn't mean that rocket went into space, sent that satellite out up, and that satellite is orbiting us right now. You
It
don't have proof of that.
absolutely does. How do you think GPS works? How do you think your cell phone?
GPS could be faked with land-based stuff
It
all
cannot be
day.
faked with land-based stuff. That's how that works.
But land-based triangulation is totally possible.
I'm
Radio
telling
waves bounce off the ionosphere. Like, what? Why do you think that would be impossible to locate where everyone is with some tech? They
So
could have lied
what
about
you're telling me is that you
lied
think
about
every
that.
rocket that's ever gone to space has crashed back down into Earth.
What's that?
You're telling me that every rocket that's ever gone to space has crashed back
You
down.
watch that happen. You watch them go to pieces in the air. You never see the payload get delivered.
You
You see
absolutely
videos
do
of
because these things
that.
have cameras on them. You
You believe
absolutely
they have
do. Have
cameras.
you been
You
have you
believe
been
that
in mission control?
I
Have you
don't believe
seen this stuff
that.
firsthand? Like You're not talking with authority right now because you've not
It's not.
seen that. I
You
have
can look
seen
what
this.
firsthand means. I need
Firsthand means I was
concrete.
in mission control at Kennedy.
That means nothing, bro. You were at a building where they had a bunch of cameras. That is, in my opinion, a prop building. It is a prop. NASA is the biggest prop company. All these companies that are trying to be little wannabe SpaceX, like these are all, in my opinion, it's a bunch of people posing like some people that aren't, like the original thing is fake. So like what you're doing, it's very silly to me, you know, promote. I got stocks in 19 space companies. Like
Not
in
stocks,
my
shares. These are
opinion, you
private companies.
in nothing because you haven't proven the world has or the powers that be haven't proven these private companies. And another thing, I don't like you have faith that these companies are private. You believe these companies are private. You have no proof that these companies are private.
Sure do. We sit on the
This
board
is
of all
what
these
I'm getting
companies.
at.
We
Like
watch them manage
you
everything. We
can't
see how they
prove
set up every single bit of their corporation.
I've been there and I know these people.
We have the proof. You're just not willing to listen to what.
Deliver it to me, bro. I'm
So,
super open to it. Let
okay,
me
I'm going to
see.
show you a few things. I'm going to take over the screen for a moment, and I'm going to show you a few things.
Got it.
This share. No, it's not. I didn't necessarily want to pull that one up first. I put a bunch of information together for you of different things that we've done. So,
but
on the bottom.
Are you understanding what I'm not interested in seeing?
That there's an entire space industry out there that you're ignoring?
No. I want concrete proof, not pictures of people pointing at rockets, not pictures of groups of people together talking about space. A picture of you on a launch pad is not proof that that rocket has gone into space. It's
video.
Okay,
so
theater. You understand
and tell me that this didn't happen.
Political theater. It's very similar. It's propaganda. It's theater. Up until it goes into space, but you don't. You haven't been there, so you can't prove it. You only believe. You have faith that this stuff's all real. Like, are you showing me it going into space?
Yeah.
Really?
What do you define space?
Into the air.
1,000 kilometers?
No.
Well, that's what the world defines space as. It's called the Kármán line.
Yeah, of course. And that's an appeal to the crowd. That's an appeal to authority. And those aren't
humans on it. It didn't just blow up. The humans came back down.
You didn't watch the dude. They could fly that thing off somewhere and land those humans, and then 2 weeks later send them back some way and make this video about it, and you're going to believe every second of it.
And I'm not. Like saying Tupac's living on an island somewhere. Do you really think that someone would go to the extent
to fake this? My position is completely rooted in logic. Your position is fallacious. You appeal to authority. You appeal to the crowd. You just said that to me as if it was an argument.
Okay.
You said everyone else believes that. That's not an argument. That's an appeal to the crowd. It's a fallacious appeal to the crowd. I need concrete, irrefutable.
Do you want to talk to an astronaut? Do you want to talk to an astronaut firsthand that's gone up?
No.
You don't believe them, and they're the ones that went up to do it. So who are you going to believe? Is the only person that's going to convince you that this is real if you go to space?
I see something that's actually.
Well, let me ask you a question. Is the only way that you're going to believe that space is real is if you go?
That would even maybe not. I don't know. It depends on what I see.
You got $250,000. I can put you on a space perspective flight, and you can go up to the Kármán line.
Colin Smith already did a Kickstarter to try and put me on the Blue Origin. Like, I'll do it.
Blue Origin can't fly like SpaceX. Blue Origin can just do this. SpaceX flies around.
And that was my argument to him.
Well, yeah, no, I'm not arguing that. And Virgin's even worse. There's a major gap between SpaceX and Virgin and Blue.
How come SpaceX videos are edited by the same company that edited the Blue Origin?
That I don't know. I can't talk on authority about who's doing their video editing.
Over 2 videos.
Your audio just kicked out. Did you move or something?
The same techniques being used. Like I've edited quite a
I
bit
went
in
to
my
film
life.
school, so I understand fully Final Cut Pro and Avid and all that stuff.
At some point, you should watch that video because it's a bit
So
interesting.
do you have
You
it?
know,
Let's link it in for
do a
people to
post
watch.
like have the same exact shots in their videos. It's a little weird.
So that's fine, but I'm not talking about SpaceX's cameras. I'm talking about Sen's cameras that we own, that Megan sits on the board of directors of, that
Yeah,
we've had
but
full visibility on this company from inception,
you
that she wrote the
do
first
use
check
that
to.
full visibility.
What's
Like
that?
that's how they sell the deception. They get a bunch of people really close, and they convince them, that they're seeing something they aren't. And
So
so
my
those
fiance
people
is
go
lying
out
to me, is what you're
as
saying?
authorities and tell everyone else, "Oh yeah, it's real," you know, and
Well,
like,
I just solved your problem. Give me
like,
$250,000. I'll put you on a space perspective flight. We'll send you up to space, and then this conversation will be over.
I'm down, dude. I am down.
We're getting married on one of those flights, by the way. That's our plan. Netflix is going to shoot a whole documentary about it. We're getting being the first couple married in space. It's going to happen early 24. Um, yeah, I mean, this is my world, or her world, that I'm bridging the gap between crypto
You're
and
going up
space.
in a SpaceX vehicle,
No, it's space perspective. It's a space balloon. It's 2 hours up, 2 hours at the Kármán line, and 2 hours down, splash down in the Atlantic Ocean.
and you guys 0G for 2 hours.
We don't quite get the 0G, but you get the
Okay, why
overview effect.
can't I find any videos of 0G for more than a few minutes?
That's not a question I'm here to talk about. I don't have authority
Why
to speak
not?
on that.
This is you're presenting, 0G is something we can go get to, but I've never seen a video of 0G for more than a couple minutes.
So you didn't watch any of the Axiom stuff when they sent the first private citizens to the space station?
Axiom, I might not have seen that one, but
Axiom is a private space station that's going to replace the
you think
ISS. And
it's
so they
private.
sent 4 people up there to
You think it's
start
private.
testing and building.
Correct yourself.
What's that?
You think it's private.
It is private because we own it.
You have no idea.
Yes, I do have an idea. That's what I'm trying to tell you. We
Any
own the
idea
company.
if it's private or not. You don't know where money comes from.
I do. It comes from Megan's fund.
They could put in fake people that fund these things. You'd meet them and think they were the funder all day
So I'm
long.
marrying a
You don't
fake
know how
VC, is what
far
you're
back
saying?
the deception is gone. You don't know what people are a part of the deception. You don't know any of these things. You just keep trying to show me pictures and videos, and that's not concrete proof to me. Videos and pictures are heavily manipulatable and have been used to deceive us for decades.
Sure.
You're
And
even
right now
paying
you're arguing to the fact that I
stuff.
modified these videos or pictures to impress you or try to win an argument. No, I took these off my camera reel off of Google Photos 25 minutes
And
before this meeting.
I don't even know if you're someone who's a part of the deception. So, I'm just asking for some concrete
Well,
proof.
that's
And if
why
you
I'm confused about this, because you do know me, and it's not like I was part of the deception at Float Fest.
No, I know. That's why I'm asking you. I'm wondering why you buy all this stuff.
Because I see it
We're on
firsthand.
such far ends of the
As I'm at a space conference like every single week. I see this
yeah.
stuff
You're
firsthand.
really involved and you've really convinced yourself it's all real, but that doesn't mean that's not facts, so that's not proof for me. Like just because
Well,
you're like really,
the proof is
really,
go meet Space Perspective, throw down 250,000 bucks. We'll send you into space for 6 hours, and the conversation's over.
well, hopefully crypto will make me a millionaire in the next couple of years again, and then we can do this. But
That's fine.
I'm
And you
just
know what? If you
like,
want to table this conversation until then, I'm fine with that. But I have a way to prove to you that space is correct, and the only way to do it is to send you up. Then that's the
and,
solution
but
to
you
end this
can't.
conversation.
That's a complete fallacy, dude. Like
How so?
because it's like being like, oh, you could go out and do this multi-million-dollar experiment on your own, and because you can go do that, it's real.
It's a
And it's like,
$250,000 trip, and it's space tourism. This
and I
company
haven't
is
done
going to
it,
be sending people up all the
and you
time.
haven't done it yet, so neither of us know if it's even real. You
I've
haven't done
got the flight reserved. We're booking a flight for 24. I thought I explained you to that. I don't need to go twice.
it.
I'm getting
Reserve
married in
something in the
space.
future does not mean that it is real or real right now. Like, how are you not understanding what I'm saying?
Because
Like, you're
your logic is that if I didn't go up to space, I can't prove that space is real. And because you have such a deception from
all I need.
authority figures, be it government or private companies, you don't actually believe anybody unless you've seen it firsthand.
That's all I needed to hear, brother. Because that's not what you were saying on your page yesterday.
Well, originally it started off by me talking about a year ago doing crypto transactions in space, and you said that that will never happen.
No, that was you reposted that 2 days ago, and then I made the comment. That wasn't a year
Well, yeah, it
ago.
was from a year
Your
ago.
post was a year ago,
My
but
post was
you
from a year ago from a panel that I did at
put it up
Houston
in memory.
Johnson NASA Space Center. Like I was
Yeah.
literally at NASA as a guest of them speaking about crypto and
You,
space.
you just told me you can't prove space is real. Therefore, what I said, crypto hasn't been to space, could possibly be true.
The
And you jumped
Axiom
all over
AX1
me and asked
NFTs were
me to
minted from the ISS. You
huh?
can track that through all of the different IP. You can track that. Literally, it's a blockchain with logged IP that shows where it was made. You think they're modifying that? They're manipulating
It
that?
says it was made in space.
It was made in
And,
space.
and yes, it absolutely can be modified, bro.
How
Like
so?
everything can be modified.
You're gonna hack the Ethereum network and modify it?
They might make some
These things are
sort of.
on open sea,
I'm not a
man. Like,
developer. I don't know what they can do.
okay.
Can you prove they can't do it?
I
Like,
can prove by the
there's
lineage of the
always the
blockchain and the
possibility.
IP tracking that this thing came from there. That's literally how this works. Now, I'm on the development side of crypto. I don't know how far in the technical side of crypto you get to, but when you're talking about Merkle trees and you're talking about roots, you can't fake that. Okay? You cannot fake that.
This is real because a guy minted a crypto there. That's what you're telling me.
Well, he couldn't have minted it if it wasn't real.
Of course, he could have minted it
How so?
anywhere.
You would think he minted it on Planet and then modified and hacked the Ethereum network so that he could change the supply chain lineage of this NFT so that it could.
Maybe, maybe.
No, not maybe.
Yeah.
Come on, man. You're smarter than that. You know that you're
I
smarter than
am.
that.
I am. That's why I'm sitting here with not enough evidence. I'm not having a claim. I'm not claiming something despite the fact that I can't prove it like you're doing. I'm claiming I'm on the fence and I'm hoping like you're the third person I've tried to podcast this week because I want someone to show me real evidence. And no one's been able to do anything
You
but point
glanced
out
over
the
something that I said earlier that is very important to this.
authority and appeal to the
The
crowd.
private space companies that are raising billions of
You don't know
dollars
the
would
private.
all be under SEC investigation if they weren't doing what they were supposed to be
The
doing. It would be
government is
fraud
in
case after
on
fraud
all
case
of
after fraud case.
it. That's like asking the cops to investigate their police brutality and then believing them when they tell everyone that they didn't do any.
Private space
Like
companies aren't government.
you don't know they're private,
I do
dude.
because I own them. These companies are in the
Okay,
portfolio.
if you started a company from scratch, um, you know, and you haven't been to space yet, you have nothing to prove to me. You have no proof for me of anything. You just basically started an LLC and called it Darryll's Space Company.
Oh,
Like
we're
that,
C
that
corp.
doesn't
That's fine.
prove anything.
LLCs aren't venture backable, so you got to do it.
Oh, come on.
So I don't know if there's much more here. I'm trying to put my position out there of the knowledge that I have of somebody
Yeah,
that's actively trying to
but
bridge the
you
gap
already
between
told me
crypto
you
and
can't
space.
prove space, and that's all I came here to hear from you.
But is Bitcoin real if I've never seen the Bitcoin miners?
There's always a chance Bitcoin could be exactly what all the naysayers say it is. There's absolutely a chance that Bitcoin could be a big Fed hoax thing. It's absolutely possible. And that's coming from someone who's been involved and who's owned lots of crypto for a very long time.
Same. And that's
So,
something that again I don't agree with because we know the nodes, we know the IPs, we know the
yeah, but
decentralization
we
of it,
don't
we
know
know
who
by
Satoshi
country where
is,
they're
and we don't
located.
know what
Like,
his intentions were, and we don't know anything about Satoshi and anything about the development of it.
well, this is off
You know,
topic, but Jim Blasco just discovered an original set of code base from 2009 that actually has a lot of Satoshi's notes in there before he went dark. So you might want to look into that. Completely off topic, but Jim
that doesn't
Blasco
change
is
what I said, though. That doesn't change what I said about crypto, possibly being, I mean, if Bitcoin failed tomorrow, I wouldn't be surprised. Like, I mean, I'd be surprised and disappointed, but I'd be like, well, that would be it. And that would be probably it for me in crypto. Like things can change. Like if something happens and I'm given evidence that makes me change my mind about something I was very serious about, I'll consider it. but I don't think you're capable of doing that.
Not without $250,000 to
Because,
send you up
you
there. That's
know,
what it seems is the only
I
solution.
think I have a pretty decent argument, and you just admitted you can't prove space. And it could always be, it could have
So
always been a
if
hoax
I
from it.
was
Yeah,
Michael
Darryll,
Lopez Alegria, if I was Michael Lopez
what's that?
Alegria, Michael Lopez Alegria is the second longest spacewalk at 8 hours. He's flown multiple shuttle missions, and he just
Yeah,
flew
you're
the
just
Axiom AX1 mission where he minted an NFT on the space station. If he was me
yeah.
sitting here telling you that right now, would you say you can't prove it?
If you were, yeah, I'd say you absolutely could be a part of the deception. Like, like Freemasonry and stuff. Like that's all really real,
Sure.
and it's all involved with the space campaign. The space program and all that. And that's how all that works, and that's how
So maybe I'm
NASA lied
positioning
to
this
everybody
incorrectly. I
for
want to I
20
want to
years.
take something that you know very well and make an analogy to it.
I
NASA
don't know anything
is
very well. This is my
NASA is
position.
the big banks, and private space companies are the crypto. It's the
So
decentralization of the
everything
space
NASA says
industry
is a
by having
lie.
private companies build these things as opposed to one national federally funded organization that is
So
incompetent.
NASA,
NASA is
NASA
incompetent.
lies.
I'm not arguing that with you at all. NASA
Yeah, yeah.
can't do anything. Their Artemis program is horrible, okay?
Okay.
But Elon
So
can. And I've been to Boca Chica and I've seen the Super Heavy and I've seen Falcon Heavy and I've seen the Falcon 9 and I've watched these things go up for as high as the human visual eye can comprehend while
yeah,
simultaneously having cameras on them. Now, if you're telling me that they cut the loop as soon as everybody can't see it and then the thing blows up and then
there's easily some program that can make that all look clean.
so what
We're
about my satellite that's in what
right.
about my satellite that's in orbit right now that I can pull a picture of the Earth up from
You
right
don't
now?
know satellites are in orbit right now.
Well, we paid a lot of money to send it up. We paid Elon a lot of money
That
to
is
send it up.
true. Everyone's paying a lot of money to watch basically fireworks happen.
But these
But
things don't
just
blow up.
because a
That's
bunch
the
of
thing.
people spent a lot of money
Maybe they
does not
blew up 10 years ago when launch was hard.
real.
Launch isn't hard anymore, man. That's
But
why these companies are finding success and they're reusing rockets and they're re-landing them. And I've been to the landing pad and I've watched the rocket come back down and land itself. With
yeah,
my own eyes. Physically saw that
yeah,
happen.
what you saw with your eyes might have been true, but everything what beyond what you see with your eyes is in question and is definitely you're incapable of proving it.
So I can't go online and track my satellite right now.
I don't know what
Yes, I
that's
can.
like. Again, that's like asking the cops to investigate themselves, like and
No,
then believing that
no,
they
this
come
is
up.
private communication. This is a private comm.
It's not private. You don't know it's private,
It
bro. Like,
absolutely is private. End-to-end
oh boy.
encrypted. Like,
And it can absolutely be part of the deception. It all can be, especially the deception started decades ago. The original math, all the stuff that the government,
and I'm not here
released.
to argue about the Apollo program because I have my own opinions based
So
off of my knowledge of
all those
cars.
programs were BS, but then private industry took over from NASA's BS and then everything was real. Like they're doing the same thing NASA did.
No,
Like they're
the space shuttle
flying
program I believe
rockets.
in.
And
The
if
space shuttle
NASA,
program I
so I
believe in,
mean, isn't
that's
the
a bird that
ISS
can
from
fly.
NASA? Like, isn't that like all the information you guys have came from ISS? Like,
No, no, that's not true at
ISS
all.
is private, is it?
No, it's not. Most of the private companies do not get their information from NASA.
Where do you stop believing NASA, and how do you justify that most of what most of the information your private industry got to do what they do, they got from NASA? And you're saying NASA's full of shit, they can't fly anything into space, but everything
It's simply not true.
SpaceX is all recycled NASA shit, literally, like
It's
literally fucking recycled NASA
that's
shit.
simply not true.
So
Most
they've
of the information that you're getting, so most of the information that we're getting to build these private companies is not coming from NASA. You do realize that there's a whole aerospace industry
You
out there.
believe that,
You do
bro.
realize that
You
there's
believe that,
colleges that
but
teach
it's
you
not
engineering,
provable.
aerospace
They're
engineering.
still using the same type of rockets, the same type of engines, the same type
They're
of
not.
propellants.
That's
Like
simply
it's
not
all the
true.
same shit. He has not
No,
completely
that's simply not true.
revolutionized and redesigned the entire space sector.
Those are not
Yeah.
the same rockets that they were using on the space shuttle. That everything that
It's the same
SpaceX does
theory,
is
the same
designed ground up.
engines, like, just because he's polished them a different way does not make them very different than what they used in the 60s.
It sure
Like
does.
it's still basically the same stuff.
It's
So
absolutely
calling
not.
NASA a complete failure and then saying
It's
that
not
this
the same
private
stuff, but that's the thing. You're basically saying that a Chevrolet from 1965 is the same as a Tesla because it's got four wheels and
no,
a door.
I'm not saying that at all.
Because it's got four wheels and a
Tesla
door.
has
There's
an
no
electronic
parts that are the
engine
same from
and
the
it's not
Apollo missions that are on the Falcons. It's just not.
false comparison.
It's not. It's 100% accurate.
It's no, it's not. It's using the same engine.
It's not. That's okay. Anyway, I think we've gone far enough.
Space
Obviously, I'm not going to be able to
has
convince you that space is
electricity,
real on this call. I think I've convinced everybody else that's listening and going to watch this podcast when I post it that
I
it
hope
is
you
real.
actually post it and you don't edit it or anything.
I'm not. I don't need to edit it at all.
All
At
right,
all.
we're going to post it
Not
up right
a bit. So
What's that?
no, I said I'm not going to edit this video at all. I'm going to post it.
All right.
And I hope that people that are watching this understand.
I mean, you admitted you can't prove space. Like that's
No,
exactly what I came here for. So
the
I'm
only
not
thing
sure
I
how you
admitted is
won.
that I haven't gone to space.
That was my original argument.
But when I go to space, then this conversation would have been pointless because everything that you're saying I can't.
Because I don't know you're not part of the deception. You're most likely part of the. You are
kidding
part
me?
of the deception in my eyes.
Are you kidding me?
Why?
I'm so anti-government. It doesn't even
anybody just because I met you through Float Fest. That means you have some sort of credibility as being a private individual who has no affiliation with the powers that be that are lying to us. Like I don't understand.
No, I'm actually the guy that's trying to change all that. I'm built a cryptocurrency because of that. I'm building space solutions because of that. We're trying to disrupt and put these industries on their head.
What space solutions do we really need right now?
Payments.
Payment? No. Space.
If I can park assets in space, the government can't tax it. There's no government can't own anything in space. There's only one law in space that says the government can't own anything.
What's wrong with Mother Earth, bro? What's wrong with Mother Earth?
It's being destroyed and it needs to get turned into a national park.
That's propaganda.
No, that's not propaganda. It's an industrial wasteland. You live in LA. You know how bad LA is. Imagine if you take away all the cars and smog and make it green.
There's no such thing as green, bro.
Okay.
Like,
all right, bud. I think we're gonna wrap this one, man. Thank you, Jeff, for the opportunity. I will be posting this video later, and I'll tag you in it.
Peace.
Have a great one.